I used to constantly stay awake at night time stressing about money, always checking my bank account, knowing that no extra money was coming in until my next paycheck, but worrying that money was constantly coming out. I used to stress that one broken part on my car might put me into financial insecurity. I did one thing that helped me remove all of this financial anxiety and helped me become a much more present father. If this sounds familiar, you are not alone. Cost of living is constantly increasing. What we used to be able to afford with our pay is getting harder and harder to maintain. Even my baby agrees. Hi, I'm Jake. I am a husband, father, and coach, and my goal is to help other fathers strive and survive through fatherhood and navigate our personal lives to become the best father we can be. The single most important thing I did to remove all of that financial anxiety was to build an emergency fund. Now, to build an emergency fund, you first have to understand your expenses. I was so caught up with what's going out. I would constantly check my bank account, knowing that one high electricity bill might send me into financial insecurity. What I did is I followed my spending for a 3-month period. Why I did that was it allowed me to see clearly what I spend in a month consistently. There's some bills that come out, monthly, fortnightly, or even yearly. And to get a good average of that, the 3 months was really good. And then I just added in those big annual expenses. What shocked me was how much I was actually spending, but also what I was spending on things that wasn't aligned with my values. I was buying out food more than I cared. I had more subscriptions than I was actually using. Now, these $10 monthly expenses aren't going to make a big difference, but it's about being intentional where your money is going. I made the highest priority to put away 1 month of my fixed expenses. Now, fixed expenses are the things that need to be paid. So this includes your mortgage or your rent. This includes your utilities, your groceries, and your transportation. Right? Other things like insurances and car maintenance, all that type of stuff. This does not include eating out, even if you feel like it is an essential expense. It does not include going to the movies or entertainment. Right? These are the fixed expenses that you need to maintain a good quality of life as a dad or as a family. Once I got my number, I made it priority with all the extra money that I was getting past my fixed expense. I built up a fund that allowed me to have 1 month saved. And this wasn't just my average 1 month saved. I saved my worst possible month. My worst possible month looked like my highest monthly variables landed. So electricity in Australian summer is always a lot higher. We're running the aircon and it looks at least $100 to $150 more than what it looks like in winter. So I made it my highest month. I made it a 5-week month of groceries. I added up to the highest possible option. Once I had this money away, it changed me. It changed me in a lot of ways. It was able to bring a lot of peace. I stopped checking my bank account. I stopped worrying about the next bill. And what those allowed me to do was be more present in the now. When you know your bills are covered, you're not constantly stressing about that next bill to come in. You're not anticipating checking your mail and hoping that it's under a certain amount of money that you can afford. I wasn't lying awake at night time anymore, stressing about if there was any opportunity for me to work overtime to be able to bring in more money. Also, once that money was saved, once I had that peace of mind of that month covered, I was able to now be more intentional with the money I had left over. I realized that I didn't need as many subscriptions. I could just make as good of coffee at home as going out to a cafe. I realized that these things aren't as important in my life as what I was previously prioritizing. What I actually cared about was quality time with my family, was not being stressed to the point of not being able to communicate with my partner. This is why I'm going to encourage you to check your expenses. It can be quite an intimidating task to do. Go through your last 3 months of bank statements and check where your money has actually been going. You're going to realize that you're spending on things that you might not have realized. You might have some subscriptions that you've completely forgot about. And you'll realize that your priorities are dictated by your calendar, where you put your time, but also where you're spending your money. This gives you an opportunity to shift your priorities and spend your money on what's really important. Our expenses look a little bit more aligned with our house. It's really important for us. Our family is really important. Holidays is something now we aim to put away that extra money we now have, and it's not so focused about keeping it aside in case of an emergency. Once you've found that fixed expense, I want you to do anything you can to get that money. If there's some things in your garage that are sitting there and you haven't used in the past 6 months, and you're not going to use in the next 6 months, sell it. Put it on Marketplace and make a quick dollar. Put all that money into an account and build that emergency fund. Once that is there, you're going to get a newfound clarity that's going to allow you to show up for your family like you haven't been able to previously before. Your quality time with your family is much more important than stressing about your finance. Yes, as a dad, it is hugely important to step and own the role of being the provider. But it's important that that provider role doesn't consume you. You want to provide a nice quality of life and then be present to enjoy the quality. Remember, money is a tool that can be used to make your life and your family lives better, but we don't want to be consumed by money itself. If you found this video useful and would like content more similar, drop a comment below and let me know if this has been any value to you. And also let me know how having that emergency fund has changed your life. Or if you're just starting that journey, what are you selling around the house that you're not using to get that emergency fund as quickly as possible? Okay, don't forget to like and subscribe the channel. It helps out huge. If you've stayed this far, I want you to drop the word fatherhood in the comments below to let me know that you are a viewer who stayed and watched. Alright, thank you guys. I'll see you next time.